Are you ready for some football? Some Manning night football. It's Peyton and Eli and Archie and Cooper too. All the Manning boys are making some ridiculous cash for part-time work. A savvy sons of bitches. Welcome back to Odd Man Sports. I'm your host, Brandon Perna. I also host That's Good Sports right here on YouTube. I'm also coming off a 2-week vacation. Not tanned, not rested, but itching to talk about jocks. And unrelated, if you have any jock itch home remedies, please leave them in the comments below. And don't say rub up against a tree, because I tried that, and while it did feel pretty nice, it didn't cure anything. Where was I? Right. Oh yeah, today's show. What are we going to talk about? Well, I'll unveil the reason Tim Tebow wasn't invited to tight end university. I'll unmask which Olympians will be having sex at this year's games. And I'll reveal exactly what it would take for me to watch Space Jam 2, Bottomless Narcissism, or whatever it's called. Let's start with Dinks and Dunks. Well, the NBA Finals lived up to the hype with the Bucks winning their first championship in over 50 years. Congratulations, Milwaukee. Alice Cooper taught me that. And in a series full of them, one of the biggest surprises came in Game 4 when Jeff Van Gundy went full New Yorker magazine saying this.
You see this, it reminds me of the poet Joseph Brodsky.
Name dropping an obscure Russian poet in the middle of an NBA Finals game? I like it. In fact, Van Gundy actually inspired me to pen an NBA Finals poem of my own. I once knew a man from Milwaukee, Wisconsin's version of Rocky. Though he had quite a handle, it didn't hold a candle to the way he filled up his jockeys. Oh, dear God. Whew. And while many have compared the Greek Freak's dominating playoff performance to Shaq and Hakeem, there was one outside-the-box Giannis comp I found particularly interesting. Bill Simmons' teenage daughter.
I remember when my daughter was playing soccer and her coach was like, just be a goldfish, just swim around. Whatever happened 2 seconds ago doesn't matter. You're a goldfish, just swim. And I feel like Giannis is a goldfish.
And I feel like Bill Simmons, by constantly talking about his daughter Zoe on his podcast, is putting her in a fishbowl, where thankfully all that goldfish training will come in handy. Another fun final subplot. Based on the success of the Bucks, the case can be made to Stephen A. Smith that the face of the 3 biggest American sports leagues are all expats. Giannis in the NBA, in the MLB it's Shohei Ohtani, and in the NFL, Tom Brady. And if you want to argue that Patrick Mahomes is the current face of the NFL, well, based on his recent response to a Chargers heckler, I'm not sure English is his first language either.
Watch out for Justin Herbert next year. I'll see it when I believe it. Yeah.
You'll see it when you believe it, huh, Pat? Mahomes later clarified his Justin Herbert comment, saying his trash talking was taken out of context. But everyone knows this is exactly what can happen. Pat, when you throw glass in stone houses. Another foreign player news, Dirk Nowitzki, while being interviewed for the release of an anniversary edition of NBA 2K, was asked about the comparison between him and current Maverick superstar Luka Doncic. Dirk graciously responded that Luka is better at 22 than he ever was in his prime. Which might be true, but there is one area Luka is unlikely to ever surpass Dirk. And I'm talking about how deep his deep V-neck tees are. Dirk, this is a kid's video game. Can we blur this for the YouTube censors to be safe? Ah, there we go, much better. Last week was the debut of Space Jam 2. unchecked ego or whatever it's called, then personally, I couldn't be less interested because I'm an adult man, not interested in kids' movies. Though I do have to admit, one of the movie cameos did catch my attention. The inclusion of the Droogs from A Clockwork Orange, which actually was fitting because this is the only way you'd get me to watch LeBron act for 2 hours. And finally, a sad domestic incident involving a first-round quarterback bust, hoping to revive his career with a new team. No, I'm not talking about Dwayne Haskins. I'm talking about the other recent sad domestic NFL incident.
What in the world? Why did you go back and buy that?
Because I couldn't leave it.
Yes, you can.
It's your high school jersey.
No, it's not. It's not my school. It's just a replica.
It's just a replica? And you don't want to waste your money because the Jaguars contract isn't guaranteed? I'm starting to think the real reason Tebow wasn't invited to Tight End University wasn't because he's not a tight end, but because he's just weird. Money talks. Well, it's been quite a week for crazy rich people making headlines. Jeff Bezos chartered a giant penis to take him into space. And David Neilman, the founder of JetBlue, who happens to just be Zach Wilson's uncle, is chartering a plane to fly 200 BYU fans directly from the September 11th game against Utah to Zach's debut the next day against the Panthers. The idea of a billionaire airline owner charging fans up to $800 to cheer on his nephew left a bad taste in many people's mouths. Mine included, though for a slightly different reason. I don't know, because maybe the 20th anniversary of September 11th isn't the best day to commandeer a plane, pack it with religious fundamentalists, and route it directly towards New York's big new attraction. Just a thought. In other nutty rich guy news, Indianapolis Colts owner Jim Irsay purchased Elton John's touring piano for almost $1 million. And while the knee-jerk joke here is that this will invariably lead to Irsay pouring himself 4 fingers of Jack and slurring his way through Benny and the Colts, I'm personally hoping for this Elton Irsay mashup. Blue jean, baby. Fuck you, Tom Brady. We're standing by Peyton. Said goodbye to Joe Adai. A first rounder for Richardson. Robert Mathis deflecting passes. Marvin Harrison. Vinatieri, bartender beer me. T.Y. Hilton has great hands. So hold me closer, Tony Dungy. Thank you. And please join me next week for my debut of Jeff Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting. Odd man out. Well, we're mere days away from the start of the 2020 Olympics in Japan, and boy, are athletes exciting.
I don't know if there's much to look forward to. I mean, look, I'm not a very patriotic guy. I'm doing it because I think it's the right thing to do.
Rory doesn't sound pumped to represent his country, and frankly, I don't blame him. The 2020 Olympics are going to be the Killjoy Games, with constantly tested masked athletes competing a safe distance apart before quietly retiring to their anti-sex beds. The 2018 Hookup Fest in Rio, this is not. In fact, the only athletes who will be getting any, at least according to the Olympic sports icons, are the judo players. Nice. Another reason athletes aren't excited to head to Tokyo, they're banning all of the cool kids.
Dallas native United States sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson is now banned from running the 100-meter race at the Tokyo Olympics. Richardson tested positive for a chemical found in marijuana.
Athletes around the world condemned the USOC's decision, but I, for one, actually support it, and here's why. The main argument for not suspending Sha'Carri is that marijuana isn't even a performance-enhancing drug. But I'm not so sure, because which country consistently has the fastest sprinters in the world? Jamaica. And who smokes the most weed in the world? Jamaica. Next to Sandals all-inclusive vacations, it's literally the thing it's most famous for. But the real reason I'm not feeling this year's Olympics is the same reason I've never been into any of the Olympics: the lack of drama. Because when it comes to the signature events, track and swimming, I already know who's going to win. The fastest person. There he is. See, it's Michael Phelps, the world record holder in this event. Coming into this race, Phelps has consistently swam the best times of anyone in the field. And they're off. Michael Phelps is out in front, ladies and gentlemen. He is building a big lead. Jiminy crickets, look how far ahead he is of everybody. Down the stretch they come, and the winner is Michael Phelps. Can you believe it, ladies and gentlemen? Can you believe it? Yeah. Yes, I can. I would like to say the only thing that could have slowed down Michael Phelps was weed. But if you remember, he too had a marijuana incident before the Olympics, followed by him once again dusting the competition. The moral here? The Olympics are bad. Sex is good. Weed is fine. And there's unlikely to be anything at this year's games as funny as when Bob Costas tried to host the last Olympics while battling a wicked case of pink eye. All right, that is it for today's episode. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode. And don't forget to comment below with your jock itch cures. Because it hurts to sit.